Wednesday morning. We're gonna do another video on the Jarvis video series. This is gonna be pretty cool. This is a live video actually happening on MNQ. Um, so let's talk about it. So basically, there was a buy signal that fired at 7:48 this morning with an A plus confirmation, as you can see here in this chain. It says A plus for the confirmation. The key was an A. Um, two samples, 0% win rate. So statistically, this wasn't a performing key at all for this structure. But there's some good points here that we want to look at here. First, contract 1C has bias developing. Okay, so we don't have an actual bias yet for this structure and how it operates in different environments. But this X asterisk means that this structure was being built within the cross neutrality. So Jarvis is able to get the time frames on when the EMA 50 crosses the 200 on a higher time frame. So if it says X asterisk, it just basically means that it's playing around in the neutrality zone of the cross. So it's like somewhere either on the cross or near the cross, very very near the cross. So that's what's coming up here. For TDS, as you can see, TDS is tempo, drift, and state. There was no tempo or drift formed on this structure. The state was pullback. So as you can see, if you were to enter on, let's say, either A1 confirmation, A plus confirmation here, which is this candle, or A1. Let me zoom in a little bit and get a little bit better. There we go, it's better. So you could have entered here, right? A1 confirmation, or utilize the more evolving validation that's been implemented into Jarvis. The latest Jarvis right now is 1.65.4, and on top of that confirmation, we have implemented a validation after confirmation, letting the trader know exactly where was the structure at confirmation and where is the structure now after it's been validated. There is an acceptance commitment validation pipeline that happens after this confirmation candle that will give the trader some more, say, confidence into the trade. But as you can see here, this particular structure, um, there was a confirmation um, for A plus, and then there was an A1, which is basically acceptance. Um, the acceptance was strong, that's why I printed, but the follow through for acceptance was rejected on this candle. So technically, this gives a DNA of unstable, structure led, fragile with a confidence score of -2. The confidence score, it ranges from -5 to +5. So it's basically saying Jarvis is telling the trader, hey, after validation, the confidence on this structure is -2. And yet, it still hit TP. As you can see on this white candle, it still hit TP. So there's some things to look back on this, right? Sometimes a structure can start off at birth, even through validation, as it being weak, but then it pulls through. There are some points that could have probably basically rebutted that weak setup here. One, it was building in this X neutrality. This is a very, in this zone is very, very volatile, right? It can really create more pressure, or the structure pressure can decrease and it can break away, break down. So there was one point here, right? The volatility zone. Um, Secondly, at confirmation snapshot. So at this, when this was printed, when this was completed at confirmation, H was up, which means it was a high aligning participation with this buy signal. So that's a positive, right? You're looking for positives in this structure that's being built out. This is a positive. This X asterisk can be used as a volatility positive. right? Again, it's still volatile, but this is a space where things can really start to happen when you start seeing this. Um, Thirdly, I would say if you're looking at the EMA lines, these lines are part of Jarvis, the EMA 21, the EMA 50, and the 200. Okay, that's basically most of the intelligence internal boundaries that's inside of Jarvis. It utilizes these three lines. And you can see the market was actually, the structure was actually being built above these lines. So that is actually pretty bullish, right? It's closing, these candles are closing above the 21, the 50, and the 200, and the Bollinger Band basis as well. So this was pretty bullish, even though it was bullish building in a weak structure build. This could have given you some more confidence, even though this was Jarvis was saying this doesn't look too good to me. That's where you have to use some outside confluences and contexts to say, well, Jarvis, I get you, but I think I'm still going to enter on this A1. Entering on this A1 would have tapped you in. This play button means that um, it's simulating a it's simulating a potential uh, spread on a specific broker that you can configure. You can configure this here. Limit entry telemetry. Your let. You can configure like simulating basically spread. So based off of the spread simulation that was configured for MNQ, this play button appeared, meaning that your order would have been tapped in. Now, from Jarvis' original construction, it was always confirmation. So this let is not on this acceptance commitment validation pipeline. It is actually on confirmation. So anytime you see this, it's coming from this point of view. So Jarvis is saying if you had entered on confirmation here, your order would have been tapped in if you did a limit entry here. And there's your TP for 1R. Currently on this live data sampling, the swing is at close for our smart stop loss, and we're using 1R. That's why you see this line here. Tells you where the stop loss is. That's where you would bring your stop loss. So this is pretty cool. This is a live video of Jarvis in action. Again, this is not a signal indicator. This is a protocol, right? So it's literally analyzing and synthesizing the market structures live and telling you, giving you feedback on what it's finding on these structures. More to come on these videos.